Welcome, good evening. I'm Jon Caldara, president of the Independence Institute and your devil's advocate. A little later in the program, and we're going to talk race, culture, and guns. But first, I don't think there's anybody in Colorado I respect more than former Governor Dick Lamm. Thank you for being here.
My pleasure.
I appreciate it. Now, last time you were here, you left your wife in the car outside.
Almost did this time, too.
And she told me you didn't even crack the window. And said you walked away mumbling something about duty to die, and I don't know what happened there, but I was very insulted all around.
So this time she's taking Uber. So Uber's arrived.
Really?
Uber's arrived. So then we can better coordinate our movements. So I'm meeting her downtown for dinner. So yeah.
You guys have just what a great relationship. Yeah. If you have a bad marriage, you've done a great job hiding it.
Yes, I'm lucky.
I want to bring you back in time. You became governor largely based on, tell me if I'm wrong on this, on the success you had in the early 70s challenging what was a foregone conclusion that the Olympics were going to come to Colorado and it's going to make the state great and we're going to make a lot of money, it's going to bring a lot of attention. You said no. First of all, what was the arrangement before you got involved?
Well, in 68 or 69, I was in the legislature, and I voted in favor of a resolution inviting the Olympics here. So I wasn't really against the Olympics as such. But then about 1969, late 69, I was the chairman of the audit committee, and I started looking at the figures. And nobody had looked at the figures. And the organizing committee of the Olympics had no idea of what it was going to cost, no idea what the income was. I mean, it really was a gang that couldn't shoot straight. And so I started asking questions, and one thing led to another.
Was the Olympics a sure thing that they were going to come here?
Oh, yeah. We've been granted
Really?
the Olympics, yes.
So the Olympic Committee said, Colorado, Denver, you're going to get the Olympics. What year were they supposed to come?
76.
76.
So they give you a lot of time. They give you this lead time to do this. I think it was Sapporo, Japan, where International Olympic Committee voted the Winter Olympics to Denver in 1976. It was all wrapped up, and it was coming.
Wow. All right. So why didn't you want this? All right. You looked at the numbers. Yeah. We now know what happens with the Olympics. What motivated you so much that you wanted to run what seemed at the time to be a pretty impossible campaign?
Quixotic. It was quixotic.
Not that I've ever done quixotic things.
Yeah,
but
I was going to say, it takes one to know one.
I mean, why take this on? You've got industry, you've got media, I mean, everybody benefits off of this, and you decide to stand up after the deal is done and say, we want out. You put it on the ballot as an initiative, did you not?
We did. You know, I don't want to sound too sanctimonious about this, but we're a small state, and we only had about 2.5 million people at that time, and even not even that many. And in the Olympics, when they award to a city, you are the insurer of last resort, the city and the state, the sponsoring agencies. And so I just looked at the downside, at the potential liability, the contingent liabilities that were possible in this. And you know, I looked at you look at Montreal. I mean, they're still in debt. Yeah. And so you just look at the history of the Olympics as the history of red ink.
If the city and the state were not the insurers of last resort, would you have felt differently?
It's a very sophisticated question, and I'm sorry you asked it, because it really does. I think I would still be against the Olympics for much more harder reasons. You know, I don't see. I like regular organic growth. I don't like these big 17-day events where you spend billions of dollars and promote Colorado worldwide. I think that, you know, our growth right now is almost more than we can handle. And so I'm very suspicious of big events like this.
You know, the feeling back then, and again, I was just a kid, it wasn't the money side of things that we're going to be left holding the tab. There was almost a feeling of, no, this is Colorado.
Right.
All right. We like self-determination, we're individualistic, and we don't need the world to know we even exist. And I really thought that was part of the flavor.
Yeah.
I could have been misreading it because I was just a kid.
You're right on. You're right on. There were two things. One of them was fiscal, but the other one, and I think even more important, is the fact that sort of the whole growth issue, people just really felt that it was not a very good investment to go out there and promote Colorado for 17 fun-filled days.
What did the initiative that you put together, Citizens Initiative, what did it say?
It said there should be no state funds for the 1976 Olympics.
So you didn't actually say no Olympics, you just said no state funds. Did that include city funds?
It did. It did not include city funds, but no, it was enough. What we needed is a symbol. In fact, I'm looking for one of those, a similar symbol right now, and maybe we'll do the same thing. But the city would have a liability, but in a Colorado Constitution, it would be very hard to do that. And what we wanted to do is do a constitutional amendment, because I didn't trust the state legislature to override a vote of the people. But now, of course, that whole thing has changed. But what I mean is, it's much harder to amend the Constitution these days, which is, by the way, is an appropriate thing.
If done the right way, but understand the way it's been changed, it means that guys like me will not be able to get something on the Constitution. Rich guys can get something on the ballot to change the Constitution.
It's pretty hard to see how you're going to get the signatures when you have to get the whole state down to the Senate districts. Yes.
Oh, that's been held up in court, so we'll see where that goes. But how did you get the signatures even back then?
Volunteers.
All volunteers.
All volunteers. Yeah, well,
You're
absolutely.
kidding me.
Absolutely. We had.
That's unheard of.
I know.
I mean, I'm telling you, I know a lot about petitions. This is my sweet spot. What you're telling me is science fiction. You cannot get something down without paying for them.
Yeah, we had one full-time person that kept track of our volunteers, and they would come in and they would ask for 5 petitions, 10 petitions, and then this person would ride herd on them and call them up and say, we need your signatures, and we had a really operating machine, and we got the signatures.
Oh, that's incredible, just incredible. All right, tell me a little bit about the campaign. Because you were swimming in money. There was a lot of corporate money going your way, of course, because the corporations.
Right.
What was the campaign?
Where
was the money?
It's interesting because of your expertise on ballot issues. If you have something that is fairly simple, money doesn't necessarily make all that difference. Right. People know what their self-interest is and where they want to go. If it's very complicated and you can confuse people and talk about chocolate-covered lemons or something, then it gets a whole different matter. But we had it was in the paper all the time, this question of the Olympics, and Rocky Mountain News did a wonderful job of following up on the various claims, their claims and our claims. And the publicity grew and grew, but it was an organic campaign, all run by volunteers. Now, we did have a debate on public television. We had a debate where I debated the head of the...
Nobody watches public television.
It made a real impact. It made a real impact. I mean, it's like in your show here. You get to the decision makers and the influencers. So... but I don't say we won it by that. It was really the idea, the more we learned about hosting the Olympics, the more the public didn't like it.
Let's fast forward, because everything old is new again. Did you ever in your wildest dreams think, I fought that, it gave me the name recognition, and I became governor partly because of that for 12 years. And I can't wait till it happens again, but here you are leading another effort to stop the Olympics from Colorado.
Yeah.
First, just before we get into the details.
No, I never dreamed it.
Really? Does it?
No, I wondered why the International Olympic Committee would even consider Colorado, because we have the right to, get things on the ballot. And when you have the right to of initiative and referendum, that makes a real game changer in terms of the people being able to speak. And so... but they did it, anyway, they haven't done it yet.
Yeah, right.
But they are seriously considering Colorado, and Colorado is a likely competitor.
I've got to say, my suspicion is, just because you're bringing up the history, just because you're leading an effort, or made it very clear you will lead an effort to stop this, I wouldn't be surprised if it scuttles the plan right with that.
Yeah, it might. It sure might. I don't know. And, I do think that this is a different group of people that are proposing this. There's some real civic leaders here that have made a lot of help in Denver in terms of the ball field, the stadium, the light rail, the airport. I mean, you know, Denver's had a bunch of really good civic leaders, and some of those people are now leading this fight for the Olympics. And I think that they're entitled to present their case. We haven't seen their case yet. We haven't seen their plan, their proposal. And yet, my feeling is I don't care what their proposal is exactly. I still don't think it's good to, when we already are growing so fast, have this massive growth, I still think it's unwise to have a big, spectacular 17-day worldwide promotion of Colorado.
Is it somewhat fun or at least satisfying to be able to do the same fight again? I mean, it just seems like a wonderful bookends of well, I started that and I'm going to keep it going.
Yeah, I guess it is. Yeah, I guess it is. I hate to be against things, and I really am been against a lot of things, you know, and so
But there are so many wonderfully bad things to be against.
Yeah.
And what was Groucho Marx song? Whatever it is, I'm against it.
Yeah.
And there's so many interests. And we were chatting about this. There is more cronyism in Colorado politics and in Denver politics than people want to know. There is a lot of back scratching, but unlike Chicago where it's hidden, it's pretty much out in the open. Yeah. Here's this player, he's going to get this contract, we're going to pass this tax increment financing thing, and we're going to build this thing, and all these contractors and construction guys, well, they'll make their piece. I mean, for me, the Denver Chamber of Commerce is ground zero for that game.
You know, people think sort of the worst about politicians and politics, and I don't know whether they'll believe me, but Colorado is really a relatively honest state. The corruption is in campaign contributions. You know, there's not people on the take in Colorado state legislature.
Yeah,
I don't know about the city, but
there's no bribes. There's no bribes. There's no bribes.
Yes.
There's nobody pocketing money as it goes through. But there is there's a scratch my back mentality of get my guys into office, my law firms push these ideas with these bond dealers. I see you nodding your head, so.
Well, you just said it. I can't improve on that. You're absolutely right.
Tell me about the effort, No Olympics, which by the way is a great name. Mm-hmm. I love the sign. Yeah, I don't know who made the little symbol, but it's pretty good. What is No Olympics?
Well, there's a developer here in town called Mickey Zeppelin. You might have come across him, and his son Kyle. And they're the ones that have put together that sign and the initial phrase in this, and I think they will be doing a lot of the heavy lifting as we go forward. So what is their interest? I think that I see no reason other than the fact that they also see that Colorado has better priorities that we should be focusing on.
I hope it comes to a ballot question. I like it when people weigh in directly on an issue like this. And my sense is, even though the population has grown 3 times since the last time you've asked this question, I think in its soul, Colorado still feels that way.
Yeah.
And I got nothing to judge that on.
I know, but people like to vote. You know, they do like to vote, and so one of our first things.
One of the reasons why I support Tabor so much.
Yeah.
We like to vote.
So we went already to the organizing committee and said, would you join us in asking the legislature to refer this onto the ballot? Because 2 ways to amend to get a law. One is referral, one is initiative. And so I don't think we're going to succeed there. I don't think they're going to agree to that. So we're going to have to get the signatures again. And that'll be a volunteer effort. And so any of your viewers, let us hear from you.
Well, if they're listening, where do they go? Why don't you just give us your home phone number now and
rlamm@aol.com.
One more time?
rlamm@aol.com.
So you're the guy that still has AOL.com.
I'm the one guy I know. Boy, talk about, I'm old-fashioned. I'm 82 years old. I have a right to be old-fashioned.
You've never been old-fashioned in your life. Governor, I can't tell you how fun this is for me. I just appreciate this so very much. Thank you so much. We'll do this soon.
My pleasure.
Stay tuned.